I've just got back from a trip up to the north of Italy with my husband and our 3.5-year-old and 19-month-old. Every year for the big national holiday, Ferragosto in Italy, we drive up to my best friend's property and we spend the week with a group of friends, mostly Italian. And with toddlers, we're not yet at the stage where a holiday is relaxing. Gianfranco got car sick and threw up several times. Raffaello wakes at 5 a.m. every morning. And Italian summers mean that often children don't go to bed until 11 p.m. or midnight. But I loved this week we spent in the mountains, and I'll tell you why. It's a little glimpse of how things could be in a completely impractical reality in which both parents didn't have to work. Of course, no one has this reality. Most couples, including us, need 2 salaries. But my goodness, even with the exhaustion of running after toddlers, how beautiful it felt to just be free of phones and computers and the pull between spending time with children and working. It's such a joy to have your child look up at you delighted when you tell them that, yes, we can be together from sunrise until midnight and actually also co-sleeping. And because we were in a group of friends, it's not like they were attached to me the whole time. They were happy to play with children and talk to the other adults, but we're always there. There is a palpable calm that comes over toddlers of this age when they know their parents aren't going away, even for an hour. How wonderful it felt to work as a team with my husband and not feel rushed. To just be present in the moment, picking fruit, swimming in lakes, playing with other children, staying up singing and dancing. So, this is our first morning and Guido is picking potatoes with my friend Sofia and Gianfranco. Raffaele and I are picking some plums. And there is something so glorious for a child when they see so much access to food, or at least with our children who are so always hungry. I know I'm very lucky because this is all very close to the daily life I've tried to create at home. We are always in nature. Guido and I mostly work from home, so we eat all meals together. We see friends almost every weekend, but somehow it's just not the same. Do you remember in previous years when I've come up to the castle, I always find myself saying, this is how it should be, living so close with other parents and the children, feeling like we're one tribe. And the children have their parents' full attention in all the activities of a day, but they can also have fun and learn from the other adults who aren't teachers or babysitters, they're friends. You feel like... Today we are at this beautiful river, which is so secluded. This is the busiest week of the summer in Italy, and yet there's no one here. We're just waiting for our friends to arrive, and then we're going to have a picnic. Watching Gianfranco chatting away to my friend Sofia as we went off searching for mushrooms in the forest, Raffaello being carried by her husband, who is very fit, when we went hiking in the mountains. Everyone just cooperates and shares parenting duties, and yes, probably it wouldn't work in the long term, but for this week it just really felt special. You might recall in previous years my friends run camps for sick children and adults, and every year we help out with a fair they host at the castle to raise a little money. The boys loved having their own stand with Guido selling vino rosso to people. Locals came selling hand-knitted sweaters and paintings, and there's music and dancing. Ferragosto is the national holiday when Italians typically have a barbecue.
Yum yum. So this is a hamburger liver zucchina senape panino made with the meat of the neighbor that it's done. Come si dice? It's minced meat from grass-grown cows, just made, and this is the liver from these cows. Zucchini, I don't know where they're coming from, and barbecued bread.
And the greatest difficulty is how to fit one bite in your mouth.
Yeah. Slowly, I'll tack it on each side.
And then we went to do a hike and sleep up higher in the mountains. The plan was to hike up to Rifugio Silvio Agostini, which sits at an elevation of 2,410 meters or 7,907 feet. We first drove to the pickup point where a group of jeeps had to take us on a road so narrow and high above a river where all they could say is, "Don't look down out the window if you're afraid of heights."
Siete mai saliti qua, Cari?
Sì, a volte senza bambini però.
We arrived at our rifugio, which is the name in Italian for the little mountain houses that host people and provide hearty northern Italian meals like polenta gnocchi, slow-cooked meat with wild mushrooms, and canederli, which are these balls made of mountain herbs and bread and cheese.
Moving now, going down. Now it's easy.
Quello, cos'è che è?
È una macchina fotografica.
Oh, posso provare a fare una foto?
Guarda che belle le montagne là dietro adesso che sei tutto schiarito.
No. Ciao. Ciao.
Hello.
Hello. Ah, forse sono un amore. Per quello scappano dal toro. No, questa è una mucca. Bello, c'è un torello e lui.
Sing me a song
Come la vita in Trentino.
Guarda, me l'ha data Pietro.
On a rainy day in September, I wanna feel your sunlight streaming in my life on my darker days.
The first day we just explored, so happy to get caught in the rain after 3 months of no rain where we are, and ate strudel and sipped mountain tea outside, watching the mountains disappear into the mist.
So I can hear you through the thunder in the air.
Buongiorno. The next day we set off on the big hike.
All right, who wants to get a head start? Who wants to get a head start?
I walk hills with Gianfranco almost daily at home, but even I was surprised that he did this hike so eagerly and effortlessly at 3 years old, holding my friend's hand and chatting away while all the adults were out of breath.
It's a bit cold. Come ti senti?
Bene.
Battela.
Come ti senti, amore?
Sono bello stanco, si è fatto 45 metri.
Oh my gosh. These are our t-shirts, mine, Gianfranco's and Guido's, that are just drenched in sweat. But we made it.
Amazingly, that we survived. I didn't think at the beginning we could do it.
And Gianfranco's reward at the top of the mountain was a big plate of tagliatelle with hare ragu. So now we are back from the mountains. Actually, the day after we got back, we had a big party here with some friends, and only just today I am unpacking everything, getting back into a routine. But I find myself still thinking about all these concepts of like community and tribe, and whether you have kids or you don't have kids, or you're just a pensioner with kids that have moved out many, many years ago, like everyone still needs a group of people around, not always, but quite often. I was wondering if any of you have noticed how ubiquitous family estrangement is becoming. I was listening to this podcast interview with a fellow at the Ethics and Public Policy Center in Washington, D.C., and also the author of a book called No Contact. And they were saying just how so many adult children now are cutting off communication completely with their parents or with their adult siblings, and the resentment and the refusal to speak can last for decades. And consequently, you know, the children, the grandchildren, the cousins are suffering as a result of this, because there's no way that their parents can communicate with the other members of the family, and so there's no more family gatherings. Parents no longer have family support when they've got young children, and the elderly are also equally left just to fend for themselves. I am not saying that anyone should tolerate disrespectful behavior, nor would I want to trivialize the pain caused from being hurt by a family member, because you know, it's not the same as when a friend hurts you or someone is rude to you online. You know, this is someone who theoretically should know you. They've probably known you your whole life, and so you kind of feel like they should be there to protect you or to at least understand you. And it can be tremendously difficult when that's not the case. However, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, I think that with the right conversations over time, there can be some repair, and you may be able to salvage something. You may be able to, you know, get over this big misunderstanding and then create lifelong memories and be there for each other in the highs and the lows. Maybe you don't live in the same city or you don't see each other every week, but you're there for the moments that matter. Another podcast interview which just happened to come up in the same week with the New York Times was an interview with a conflict facilitator and the author of a new book called The Art of Fighting. And she was saying how fighting is such a healthy sign in a relationship, and yet as a society we think, oh no, that's something's wrong. However, she also does add that so few people understand how to fight effectively and to learn from a disagreement and improve the rapport rather than create irreparable damage. I was thinking it's not something they really teach in school, but it's so vital. Imagine how many marriages and childhoods and friendships and workplace teams could be saved if we were all just a little bit better at communicating with each other when we disagree with someone. As you know, I spend a lot of time with my parents and my sister, but it's not always easy. I mean, we definitely do fight. And I actually don't know any family who doesn't have conflict, even if it's the type of family that on the outside it seems very harmonious, but there's actually a lot of tension because all the feelings are actually just swept under the rug and comes out as passive aggression. So often it can be the partner who is at the root of the conflict, and it's hard because you've got a stranger essentially who is coming in who the family are not in love with. They may even believe that that person's not good for their son or daughter or brother or sister, and yet they've got to accept them. And on the other side, the person who has chosen this partner can feel tremendous guilt or rejection because they've chosen someone who doesn't fit in and isn't accepted. I don't really know what the answer is. I'd be keen to hear your thoughts. I guess I do believe that when there's so much at stake, when there is the risk of family estrangement, of just cutting people off, then it's worth throwing everything at it that you can and trying anything. And sometimes in this case, you can't talk to a partner or a family member because there is no objectivity. They're a bit too close to it. And so that's where therapy can come in and be useful. whether you are at the nucleus of the conflict or you're just acting as a mediator. My husband has spoken to you guys before about how much he benefits from speaking with a psychologist about issues that he is going through. And I also have a lot of friends who have kind of accepted that their relationship with their family will always be strained, and therefore they rely on the objectivity of a therapist just to manage that relationship and make sure that it doesn't spiral and get out of hand. And this is where BetterHelp, who is a paid partner, can make starting therapy so much easier. Over 6 million people to date have gotten therapy from them, and they have a 4.8 out of 5 star rating on the App Store. If you're going through an issue in your family and you want to try it out, click the link, which is betterhelp.com/Kylie. I shall put the link in the description box below. You go to their site, fill out a quiz, and you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. I don't believe that it's going to magically resolve deep family issues that have been going on for decades. However, it could put you in a more calm and rational state, just managing your own feelings and thoughts and regulating your nervous system and helping you to make better decisions so that potentially you could save a very important relationship in your family. I have got lots of really great content planned for you this next month, and I can't wait to start filming it. If you have any suggestions of things that you would like to see, I'm always open to your thoughts. And thank you very much to my patrons and to you for getting to this point in the video. Have a beautiful week wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Alla prossima.